Hey guys, this is Steve at Silex Assembly of God Church. Today, I just want to take a moment and talk to you about the importance of vision. We need vision in our lives and in our churches. Without vision, we're kind of living in the past. But we need a vision that's so big that we can't accomplish it on our own. That's the kind of vision I want to talk about today. So big that we have to pass it on to the next generation. We need to have that kind of vision within our church. You know, Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt. We know this. You know, God gave him this vision, this calling to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. But God also said that there's a promised land. And of course, we know that there were some things that happened that Moses never got to take the Israelites into the promised land. So he had to hand it off to the next one. He had to hand it off to Joshua. And Joshua is the one that took the Israelites into the promised land. Now, I want to give you another example, is David. David had a vision of building a temple for God. We remember this, that he really wanted to build this temple. But we know that David had to hand that vision off to his son Solomon. And Solomon was the one to build the temple for God. You see, if we only dream visions that are just small enough for us to accomplish on our own, you see what happens is it deprives the next generation of serving God. We need to have a vision that's big enough that we have to hand it off to the next generation. We can't do it on our own. The next step to this big vision is it's kind of hard. It's a hard step to do, and it requires humility. We need to prepare ourselves to hand off the vision, to not just keep it to ourselves. And we should never feel threatened by the involvement of the next generation. Never feel threatened by that. That's the whole purpose. Never feel threatened by their eagerness to be involved. How else are they going to learn? But we train them up. Every generation needs to have a big vision with the same idea that requires a handoff. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves living in the past experiences and living on past anointings. And that's not good for anybody. The past is great to refer to, it's great to learn from, but it's not good to live on. We can't do that. There's no sustenance there. We need a fresh vision. And again, if we don't have fresh vision, if we don't have a vision that requires us to hand it off to the next generation, then the future's pretty bleak for us. I want us to take a look real quick. Nehemiah chapter 2 and 3. You'll find a story about Nehemiah and the walls of the city that were just in shambles. And you'll see that Nehemiah prayed and fasted to God because these walls were just demolished. They was burned. This was his hometown. This is where his fathers were buried. And he wanted to rebuild these temples. God gave him this desire to rebuild the temple. That seems like an impossible task. You see, when we have a task or a vision that God has given us and we think, this is daunting. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to do this. That's perfect. Because that's when we have to hand it off. We have to find help to help us do this. That's a God vision. You see, Nehemiah, he got the help of all the people within the city. All the neighborhoods, they took the sections of the gates that were in front of their neighborhoods and they rebuilt those sections, section by section by section. You see, he had help of all these people. You know, the greatest way for us to build our church and to see our vision just start to flourish and not just our vision flourish, but the people to flourish is by letting the people be a part of the vision. There's a few things that happen when we let people become a part of the vision. Number one, it creates an attitude of ownership. An attitude of ownership. Think about that. That now they feel part of this vision. This is their baby too. And what happens when people feel that ownership is they're more committed. So if we have trouble keeping people within our doors, maybe it's because we're not letting people be a part of our vision. Now, not all visions come with a clear, precise plan of action. And when I say visions, I mean even visions from God don't always come with clear, precise actions. You see, when we don't have clarity in the vision that God has given us, it's then that we need to act on faith. We have to act on faith. And you know, sometimes that's exactly what God's waiting on. Is that waiting on us to act on faith. He's given us this vision, but are we going to take the first step? Because here's the thing. God will give you this vision, maybe not give you that clarity, but if we take that first act of faith, that first step, God starts bringing clarity in what He wants us to do. But we have to take that first step. We need to obey God even when the experts are telling us there's no way this is even possible. Nothing adds up. This isn't going to work. And you're crazy for even trying. But if God's given us that vision, we need to be obedient to what God has called us to do. You know, all the meteorologists in Noah's days were saying, dude, we've never seen rain. We don't even know what rain looks like. It's not going to rain. And you're saying it's going to flood. You're building this monstrous boat, and you're saying it's going to flood. You see, all the experts were saying there's no way. We need to follow God's leading in spite of what the experts are saying about this vision that God has given us. Because here's the thing. God will bring the vision to fruition. He will, just as in Noah's day, He will bring the rain. And we need to be prepared. And we need to be prepared to hand off the vision. A good handoff can make or break the transition. I want us to understand that. I want to say that again. A good handoff can make or break a good transition. We need to pray for a God vision, a vision that requires us to hand it off to the next generation, to prepare the youth to come up. We need to prepare and train the youth to take our positions. That's what we need to be doing. We need to have a vision and pray for vision that makes the experts go, this guy's crazy. But that's the kind of vision I want, and that's the kind of vision our church needs.